So, today we're going to have an unboxing of the Blood Bowl Khorne Blood Bowl team set. Named here as the Skull Tribe Slaughterers. Skull, blood, blood, skull, 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 blood, blood, blade, blood, blood, sword, axe, skull. Yep, rah. Skull. So, as you can see here, we get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 minis in the box. Fairly standard fare for a Blood Bowl team. So I'm going to be guessing 2 identical sprues. Really excited about this actually. It's going to be used as my team in the upcoming league we're going to be starting. So, as you can see from the bug, I can't believe I just sat there and counted it, and it says right up there that there's 12 people in there. Now, in this box, we'll start at the back. So, in here we have 2 Bloodseekers. Here we go, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. 2 Marauder linemen in that pose, 2 Marauder linemen in that pose, 2 Marauder linemen in that pose, and 2 Khorne, which are 2 funny sort of dogmen type thing. I mean, they've got the Gore name, so I suppose it's something like a Khorne Beastman, so he's probably a little bit more of a dog-themed Beastman, something like that. Now, we also have a pair of double-sided Blood Bowl coins, turn and reroll markers, and some balls. Everybody wants balls, 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 balls. We also have a transfer sheet, which, you know, normally, well, I've been known, I don't normally use transfer sheets. I normally paint all the stuff on myself, but in all honesty, with Blood Bowl, the fact that they've got the position and the player type on here, things like that, and numbering your minis is ridiculously important in Blood Bowl, or at least some method of individually marking each player for skill advancements, things like that. I will probably end up using this transfer set. Like I say, I don't normally, but the fact that it comes in black and white for wherever you put it on the model, and for me anyway, having them in white so I can put them on the bases at the back so I can see which player's what, is actually a very good thing as far as I'm concerned. We have a suggested paint scheme here, which by the looks of it, I'm probably not going to adhere to mostly. I just object to anyone using the base coat Mephiston red on a Khorne model when you've got perfectly good Khorne red. Blood for the blood god, rah. Now, let's see what's in the box, shall we? Always rip that bit. I don't know why they put that bit there. I'm never really any good at that. Okay. Let's get everything out of the way, and then we'll just... So let's put the box out of the way. Now, first thing we have here, we've got the Khorne Blood Bowl team. Read this first. Honestly, so we've got our instructions. Fairly decent. The only bit that worries me is things like this. The neck actually comes separate to the head, but we'll see what that's like when we're building them. All seems fairly straightforward. And we have, handily enough, all the relevant stats. That's how many you can have in the team. Over here, position, cost, stats, skills, they come with as standard. Primary and secondary, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what those are yet, but I'll do that as I read it. You know, rules, who cares? As said earlier, the aforementioned transfer sheet, which I think is actually a very good idea. We have it's the same set of transfers in both black and white. So depending if you've got a light area you put the transfer on, you would use one of these ones, and dark area these ones. That's fairly self-explanatory. Bag of bases, 32mm Blood Bowl slotter bases with a little hole at the front for putting the ball on. I've never been very good at remembering to do that. We'll see how this one goes. I always try, I never get it. Now, the sprue. Probably going to be looking at one sprue because, let's be honest, it's the same sprue twice. So like I say, so you got your double-sided coins, so you've got a nice rune of corn here, and your Blood Bowl symbol there. Other than that, it's the stand. I mean, one thing that does stand out that I like almost immediately, let's see if I can get it in focus. I love that head. I think that's great. We've got all your normal sort of gear with blades and guards, and actually that reroll counter is really cool. I like that. Anyway, so it all looks fairly standard. So on this one, you'll have 6 minis on this sprue, 6 minis on that sprue. How you put them together is, well, it's not really up to you. I think you've got a couple of variations so that you don't have identical players everywhere. I mean, it always helps with Blood Bowl. You can be a little bit more individual when it comes to how they look in terms of paint scheme, things like that. It's not a strict uniform. I mean, if anyone's going to try and pull up, you know, like, a Khorne disciple, oh, excuse me, your shin guards are too, he's going to absolutely smack you. But like I say, that's a little brief overview of what's in the box. What I'm going to do now is maybe a little bit of a reset up. I don't know, I've not really thought about it yet. But what we are going to do is have a go at building a couple. We're going to do it according to the instructions, starting with the first one first, as you would expect, and then see how we go. And I'll be giving you my thoughts and insights along the way. Speak to you soon. And I am back in the room. Let's hope all this works. Now, so we are building Bloodseeker number one. So the first thing it tells us to do is glue the neck onto the head. Now, I'm going to be doing it in the order that they suggest we do it. I'm not quite sure if that's the best way to do it, but you know, they've given us the instructions, given the benefit of the doubt. Looking at it here, I would probably glue the neck onto the torso first and then glue the head on, but like I say, I'm doing it according to their instructions. I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on it, and if I don't like it, I'll change it when I do the next one. So it's not a big deal. So first thing to do is here, take up your gluing surface, which so you get it right, in this case is around here, just by that little dimple, which is just a little moulding defect. Don't pay any attention to that. So put a small amount of glue on there. I always like to leave it for a second or so. It just helps melt the surface so it goes together nicely. Now the larger side is going to be the side that goes on the body. I've just got to find the bit that actually sticks onto the front of his chin, which I believe is that part. So let's get it the right way round, because I'm awful at, oh, see, this is why I think you should glue the neck onto the body first, but I've made my bed, so I am going to lie in it. My big fat sausage fingers are having a hell, and I mean an absolute hell of a job getting this round the right way. Get it there so it's tacked in place by the glue you've already put down. That's why it's always good to leave it for a few seconds. Then have a look, check it from all the angles, because at first it may look like it's got on fine, but you'll turn it round and you'll spot a little gap or something, and just this way makes it, there we go. So that bit stuck on, so you should end up with a part, is that even in focus? Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's what it should look like after you've done that bit. Now leave that to one side. I'm just going to put it there, taking great care to avoid that aforementioned whacking great puddle of Pterodon turquoise. So we now want numbers 3 and 4. So we take our sprue back again and we have a look. So that's where I took the last bit from. We're looking for numbers 3 and 4. Can you spot them before I do is the question. There's 4. So maybe in terms of watching the video you beat me, but as I'm recording this quite a long way before you're going to see it, I can pretty much guarantee I physically found the part before you did, so that's a win for me. So there's the torso part that it goes onto, and now we've got to find the armour plate that goes across the front of him, which isn't the one I thought it was there. It's the one with the standard strip and spikes, which I think is that one. Number 3, yep, it's that one. So, always trying to keep it under the camera, never quite am, so I'm very sorry about that. There's that one off. We have here, and welcome to Modelling Time with Neil. It's a very hot day here in Edinburgh at the moment. I'm currently sweating my tits off, but I'm making models, so life is actually generally pretty good. Now, on this one, it makes it nice and easy to see where you've got to put the glue, because if you look on here, you can see a really big flat section, which is the front of his chest. Well, from his waist to his chest, really. So you get the glue. You don't need to go nuts with the glue. Honestly, a few dabs is more than enough normally. We'll put that there. A little bit around the front, a little bit along the bottom. You just want a few bits because it will spread out tack and it melts the plastic and yada yada yada. If I knew any of the physics and stuff, I would tell you, because that would make this really interesting. Right, anyway, we put that on there. Just hold it together for a few seconds. That will be enough to, just want to make sure you haven't got any like obvious gaps sitting about so it looks like it's sitting funny. You just want it to sit nice and flush. So we've done that bit. Now we want to put the head on. Now, I'm saying this really confidently. We just put a little bit of glue in there and we put the head on. These bits never go right for me. So we've got that. You can see where I put the glue in the neck. His head wants to be pointing slightly over to his right, which, as we're all seeing it, is the left, but that makes perfect sense. There we go. So there's that bit done. Now, it says do parts 5, 7, 8 and 6 all at the same time. I've only got one pair of hands, so I'm going to be looking for his legs first. So we want numbers 7 and 8. So again, back to the sprue. This is where finding things gets a little bit more technical. What's that one? That's 26. So it's definitely not that. That's 40 something. That's number 8. That'll do. I was going to go for 7, but 8 is also a leg. And 7 is the one next to it, so at least I know where I'm going back to. So looking on here, there we go. We cut that leg off. On here now, again, you can see the cutouts. You can see the flat sections where they've, where they intend for the model to fit together. So just put tiny bits of glue. Don't go nuts now. And I know from experience it's very easy to slather the inside of that knee guard there, that bit on the front, thigh guard, with glue. You think, oh yeah, that'll hold it nicely. It won't. There's supposed to be a gap there. Don't, just put a little bit there. Any bits that are needed will push out and it will fill what you need. Don't, smother it. There we go. I was hoping that would do that because I hadn't read ahead and I wasn't quite sure the angle it was supposed to fit onto. But I'm holding it like that. A few seconds is normally enough, and as you can see, we now have 2 complete butt cheeks, which is always, a good thing. Unless you're Slanesh, maybe you may like more, you may like less. I'm not here to judge. Now, we're going to cut this off. So this is number 7. This is his other leg, or in this case, the lower leg, sort of shin and foot area. But if you're on here for anatomy masterclasses, you're in the wrong place, pal. Again, you can actually see the ridges that I know from experience there are going to be recesses of on the other leg, which is what holds it in place. So again, not too much glue. You're not wanting to bond one planet to another one or anything like that. You just want to move it about a bit until you'll feel it when you get the right place, and you can hold it on like that and you can give it a look round, make sure that it's central. You've not got any weird bits of muscle overhanging on one side. Now at this stage, according to the books, it's saying put his hands and stuff on as well. What I like to do is leave that for a couple of seconds, just let it get some sort of bond. This one is actually the more important one, this leg here. We're leaving that like that because that's the one that's actually going to support all its weight. So put Again, small amount of glue on the underside of his foot. Leave it there for a couple of secs because that will help melt the plastic and give you a more secure bond so you're not constantly dropping it. As you can hear by the, although you might not be able to hear, but I can hear from the wonderful rustling in the background, it's getting the bass out. Now this one actually isn't a slaughter base model, but they're giving me a bag for the slaughter bases because of the ball hole. So like that, always try and keep the hole at the front. Now we don't need to put any glue on the base because we've already put it on the model's foot. Now I like to try and do it so that the model's head is looking out over that slot at the front, you know, in a straight line where the ball will be. Some people like doing it that way, some people don't. That's just me. Now I'll do that, and this one is the only bit you have to tediously hold because the glue will have started melting by now, but it's always good to just let it have a few seconds of a nice tight bond, and then we can set that down there, and that bond should be strong enough already to hold the model up without slipping. He says just as it falls over. Now 5 and 6 are the next two parts we need. So looking on here, let's see how long it takes us to take. There's 5. Excellent. Right, now 5 is there. So there's 5. Just knock the glue over, who cares? And now we're looking for number 6. Where is 6? 6, there we go. It's the one that's got a punch daggery type thing, which every good, honest sportsman needs. I mean, it's great. Can you imagine how much more fun something like bowls would be if everyone had punch daggers? Curl that one in. Right, anyway, as this is the part I've got in my hand, this is the one I'm going to start with. Make sure it's cut nice and flat there. You know, so if you look at it on the side, there's no bits sticking out or anything like that. We'll put the glue around the inside of that nub because you just tease it up slightly. Then when you push it down onto the model, the pressure will push the glue up and fill the bits in that you need. So again, on this, it's just a case of letting the slot find itself, holding it for a few seconds, not with too much pressure because these bits are bloody sharp. And now, sorry, I'm just trying to turn it to make sure there are no gaps, make sure that's in where it should be, and it is, so we'll put that down. So now again we are putting a small amount of glue there. You don't need a lot, you really don't. It's not a load bearing piece or anything like that. So if you look here, look at where it's got to fit, so you need that bit to go on the top. Let it find its own resting place. And then that's there like that. So what we have here is one finished blood seeker for the corn blood bowl team. Now I'm not going to bore you, make you sit through all the rest. That's how the kit goes together. They're all just variations of the same thing from now on. So the next, either be in this video or a follow-up video, will show you what it's like painting them. Have a good one.